There you go.
What's going on, guys? You're watching Concert Junkies with Rob Jon. But make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, and like, comment down below. Appreciate that so much. But the reason why you don't see Rob here today is because I'm filling in for him. He has work and whatnot, as we all do. But more importantly, we're here with Miles.
How you doing?
So, tell me about your new band and whatnot that you're in now.
I wouldn't call my band pretty new. We've actually been around we've been a band for about going on year 4 right now. But with this particular lineup, majority of this lineup's been together for well over 2 years. Recently just got a new drummer, and he's absolutely killing it, being that he is in the studio right now recording a new single.
That's what that was?
That's what that was.
Respect.
He's an amazing drummer. I mean, we were without a drummer, and we were set to play the Summer Slaughter stage up in Manhattan, and Gerard was able to come in, learn all of our material within 48 hours. And
Really? 48 hours?
48 hours to learn 4. We only had time to play 4 songs for that set, being it was like 20-25 minutes. But he learned 4 songs, and we absolutely annihilated the stage.
Awesome. Seriously. Awesome.
No, I love him to death. He's a blessing.
Good. If you don't keep him, I'll be very mad at you. But second thing is, who inspired you to do vocals? It could be artists, bands, or it can be any genre. Flow-wise.
Well, if you want to hear about my music history, I've always been into music. There's always music playing throughout my house. I grew up R&B, soul, jazz, and funk. I didn't start getting into metal until my teenage angst years, middle school and such.
We all have had those.
Oh yeah. And I started out with bands. Everybody starts off with Metallica or Slayer or Pantera. I actually started in the new metal realm, an alternative metal realm. So I listened to bands like Slipknot, Korn, Cold Chamber, Mudvayne, and a lot of those guys, especially Corey Taylor, were the ones who inspired me to do vocals.
Okay. I can dig that. I can definitely dig that.
Now, when it comes to this particular style of vocals, because what Corey Taylor and Jonathan Davis and what all of them did was different from what we do now. This is a deathcore, death metal genre, so we're growling, screaming, and all that. When it came to that, the one who inspired me the most, or at least just got me right off the bat, was Mitch Lucker.
Oh, man, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Mitch Lucker. I was very happy that I got to meet him years ago, like not even a couple months before he died. Yeah, he was one of the first vocalists that inspired me to do this, and then when I started actually screaming, when I actually started to get good, because we all go through that phase where we suck. When I started to get the right tone, when I was screaming from my diaphragm, a lot of people told me that I sounded like Phil Bozeman. So I started listening to a lot more Whitechapel. And then, of course, every other band that I listen to nowadays followed suit, and I'm still finding new bands that I love today. Yeah, it's basically my whole music history.
Alrighty. So, staying with that said style, if you were going to go on tour, what bands and what venue would you personally hit, or venues?
If Indrid Cold were to, by the way, disclaimer, it is not Injured Cold, it is not Ingrid Cold, it is Indrid Cold. INDRID Cold, as in I'm cold, it is cold outside. Jesus. New Jersey sucks with the cold. But if Indrid Cold were to play with any bands, I'd honestly say,
Tough one for you, isn't it?
oh yeah, it's a very tough one, because I'm kind of thinking like who we fit best when it comes to our sound. When I think about that, Fit for an Autopsy headlining with Lorna Shore, and direct support for that would probably be Body Snatcher.
Ooh.
Body Snatcher, because they really do bring the heat. I've seen them live twice. I've seen them live twice now, I believe, and every time just absolutely annihilates the stage. And then with us opening, because that's honestly where we would be if we were to tour with them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that with every band at this level. But my dream tour that I would just love for us to hop on and these are some of my favorite bands to this day. Septic Flesh headlining, the Black Dahlia Murder.
Oh, bringing it old school.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, bringing it old school, man.
I love me some Black Dahlia. With that, Carnifex, and let me throw Dark Funeral in there because black metal is one of my favorite genres. Like if I had full control over Indrid Cold, we would be a black metal band. Not gonna lie.
Dang. But I do like your sound now. It does have like a lot of black metal influences in there, and obviously like with deathcore, which I do respect a lot.
Yeah, one of the things that Ryan writes, how he writes, always ends up having some sort of black metal twist to it, especially with our debut single, Prodigal Night. Prodigal Night had some very melodic tones, but kept a very death metal, black metal-esque riff the entire way. Not to mention with the orchestral sounds and synths that are playing in the background, thanks to our former guitarist, Gabe. And basically, I would say black metal is in our influence a lot, and I think that's one of the things that we're going to try to do come the next EP.
Okay.
Is really emphasize on the black metal sound, of course.
Now, when you say next EP, when do you think that will be out?
Next EP. Well, I would have to say it probably won't be another year before it's out, just due to the fact that we all have our work schedules, we all have our lives to do, and one of the things that we really want to do is promote Hell's Abattoir, because when we were promoted, when we put out Hell's Abattoir, we had to do it with little to no promotion because it was a very rough time for us, and we just decided to just get the EP out to the world. So it very much lacked in promotion. So what we want to do is for the next year or so, as we continue to write and practice the new music, we perform all of our old stuff and maybe debut a new song when it's ready.
Okay. Okay.
Only live, and then release that as a single when the time seems right.
Now, Hell's Abattoir, is that your first one?
Hell's Abattoir was our first EP.
Cool.
Out of the 4 years we have been a band, we've been a band for about 4 years now. At one point it was just me and Ryan. We went through members like toilet paper. It was a crazy time, and not to mention we were still in high school. Yeah. A little backstory. I formed Indrid Cold my senior year of high school, and Ryan was a junior, and it basically started from there. Went through members left and right. As of right now, when it comes to drummers, we are on drummer number 3 right now.
Okay.
Drummer number 3. And hopefully Gerard stays as number 3.
Third time's a charm.
Absolutely.
Think of it that way. Now, when you said Ryan, and you also mentioned Freddie before, as you know, you said they're both guitarists.
Yes.
Which one's lead and which one is rhythm?
They tend to switch.
Really?
They tend to switch a lot.
Okay.
There are certain songs where Freddie will have the lead and Ryan will take rhythm, or vice versa. And there are some songs, for record, Hell's Abattoir, the title track. There is a chord progression that leads into a build-up and then into a verse break. Both Ryan and Freddie flip-flop those parts. So I guess you could say they pretty much switch from rhythm and lead time to time, maybe for like a whole song or in parts of a song. They'll switch. Okay.
So, my other question would be, what was your first CD you ever bought, and how young were you?
First CD I ever really bought by myself.
Not as a gift, like actually went to the store and bought it yourself.
God. I actually got to think about that for a second because that was so many years ago. And I've bought a lot of CDs and vinyl. I was around 11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I was around 11 or 12, and I picked up. That's what it was. I was 11, and I picked up Slipknot's "All Hope Is Gone" album.
Ooh, such a good album.
Yeah, it wasn't the first Slipknot record I ever listened to, but because the first one I listened to was the first album, the self-titled.
Okay.
But I had picked up All Hope Is Gone because it was the newest one out at the time, and they were basically everywhere, so I picked that one up. Because I mostly listened to music off of my phone or my iPod at the time.
Of course.
And then
iPods.
Yeah, you can see how old you really are.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
But yeah, Slipknot's All Hope Is Gone album was the first album that I actually bought, and then I started to collect vinyl records and CDs and all that stuff of any kind of band that I can find, whether it's a local band or a very big signed band. Like I have CDs that have bands that have local bands that have already broken up and went, and that's the only thing that they'll ever record in their life. So I have one of a kind CDs and such, and my vinyl collection is starting to very slowly growing.
Okay.
One of the things is that I used to work in a vinyl manufacturing warehouse. And
really?
Yeah, down in Bordentown. It was called Independent Record Pressing. Our bass player, Guy, he was actually my boss over there as well.
Okay.
I ended up getting a lot of vinyl records that we printed. One of them was actually Atlas by Parkway Drive.
Ooh.
I have that on my 3 favorite vinyl records would be my Atlas record, my Sublime record, and I also have Die Artist Murder's Hate album on vinyl.
That's a fantastic album.
It's one of my favorite albums of all time, really.
So my personal question to you is that would you like to one day, hopefully, get your next EP later down the line on vinyl?
That would be pretty cool. Because one thing that I see that bands do is have these limited edition vinyls of like their old records. I believe Die Artist Murder actually did that with their EP Infinite Death, they did something like that. And Behemoth is also printed vinyl for their Satanist album. And guess how many of those were printed?
How many?
666.
Okay, let's not go there now.
That's what I found funny, because when I was ordering that vinyl, it's like only 666 were printed. I'm like, wow, really going with the whole Satan shtick. But then again, I gotta realize that Nurgle is a Satanist, so as with most black metal anyway.
To each their own kind of thing.
I don't judge. I have plenty of friends who are who are Satanists, plenty of friends who are Christians. I don't see religion. I don't see color. I don't see anything like that.
You see them as a person to a degree.
They are just people to me. Neither I like you or I hate you. And I tend to like people a lot more than I hate.
Hate's a very strong word.
Strongly
honestly.
Dislike. There you go.
I like that a little bit better. But
But to get either Hell's Abattoir, going back to your question, either get Hell's Abattoir or the new EP on a vinyl record or any other albums, of course I would love to do that.
Okay.
Very much love to do that.
Sorry about that. There's one more question I forgot to ask. I wrote it down. Please bear with me. What was the first concert you ever went to? I completely forgot about that question.
First concert I've ever been to, like by myself without my parents accompanying me, or just like my very first concert?
If you tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
My very, very first concert was... Well, the thing is, my parents brought me to plenty of concerts, but it wasn't metal bands.
Concert to concert.
I think my very first concert was Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yeah. If I that's the earliest memory that I have. I think I was around 5 or 6 at the time.
Word.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Word.
Yeah, no, that was my first concert, Michael Jackson. I barely remember it.
Well, you were 5 or 6 at the time.
Yes, either one of those. But the first concert that I ever been to where I paid for myself and actually could get there without my parents driving me, like Warped Tour. Warped Tour doesn't count because I've been going to Warped Tour since like 2008.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, 2017 was the last Warped Tour I went to because I didn't go to the last one. Loudfest at Game Changer.
Oh, now you're really bringing it back.
That was 2016. I was 2016 because I had my car, and I had my car, and I had some money, so I bought tickets to go to Loudfest at Game Changer. That was a fun day. A whole bunch of local bands playing. You also had the Machinist was there.
Really?
Yeah, the Machinist was there. Fit for an Autopsy was there.
Of course.
Lorna Shore was there. But Loudfest actually, what? That was during the Straight Outta Hell tour.
Okay.
That was Whitechapel.
So that wasn't a curse. That was actually the name of the tour.
Yeah, straight. Because that was around the time Straight Outta Compton was coming out. So everybody was everyone was on the straight out of whatever vibe. So on this tour, it was the Straight Outta Hell tour.
So they're trying to catch that vibe.
They were catching that vibe at the time. So it was Whitechapel, Carnifex. Who else was on the tour? Despised Icon. God, they were amazing. Oceano. I believe that was it for the whole tour.
Gonna check one thing.